to SciShow Tangents, the lightly competitive science knowledge showcase. I'm your host, Hank Green, and joining me this week, as always, is science expert Sari Riley.
Hello.
And our resident everyman, Sam Schultz.
Hello.
And we have a very special guest this week. It's Twitch streamer, artist, and chaos gremlin, Ashley Roboto.
Hello. Hello.
You asked specifically for a cursed topic for this episode of SciShow Tangents. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about a thought that I have sometimes. I don't know why I have it, but probably the most cursed object to be given by a stranger would be a nuclear bomb. What would you do if a stranger gave you a straight up atom bomb? What would you do? I don't know. I'm like, what's the thing? What's my first step if I'm given the most powerful weapon ever devised by humankind?
I wasn't expecting to join this and be given a question about half a step into war crimes.
Look, it's not a war. You didn't do any war crime. You you were handed a package.
But what if I do the wrong thing? I like in the Marvel movies when they all just like turn to dust. I feel like my level of anxiety would just go from 0 to like 1,000 so fast. I would just from the feet up just disappear into dust to the ether.
I mean, I'm very worried about calling the FBI and being like, now, I don't want you guys to panic.
Yeah, you might get in big trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's more like, I'm gonna put it down over there, and I'm gonna be here watching it, and I've got my hands up. This is my address. Come over.
Can I ask some clarifying questions?
Mm-hmm.
Where are you when you get it?
You're walking down the street.
In public?
It's a place where you're often walking down the street. It's a place in public that you go frequently. Grocery store, coffee shop.
So is this like a case where someone has been watching you and waiting to deliver this atom bomb specifically to you? Or is this just somebody who is just trying to just do this to someone?
They're trying to get rid of it. They're
okay.
This package is too hot for me. I thought I got it over my head, and then they need you.
And also, does it have a clear mechanism to trigger it, or do you not really know how it works?
No, you have no idea how it works.
Oh, shoot.
You know it's an atom bomb. You don't know how it works. You know you're not worried it's going to go off automatically.
Well, then I would drive it to the ocean, and I would go into the ocean and drop it.
Thank you.
Well, it's not going to blow up right when I drop it in the water. I'm not going to blow it up. I'll just push it in the ocean.
You're going to hide it?
You think somebody will find it eventually?
Yeah. I think somebody will find it eventually. It's a big, long time between now and the end of the earth.
That's true. The ocean might dry up. Gosh, what about if I bring it to the Marianas Trench and I drop it in the... That seems more likely for someone to find it, actually, because somebody would explore it and be like, aha.
I'm also not confident in your ability to get there with an atom bomb.
Well, okay. I'd have to ask you where it is first, and then I'd have to ask for a ride.
You get a call
over
from
there.
Sam.
Yeah.
What's the fastest way to the Marianas Trench? Don't ask any questions, please.
That's going to be written down as like red flag questions to receive from Sam in the future. Just put it somewhere.
Like it's the moment you Google that, you're on the list.
Yeah, you're on a list somewhere.
Like, what are you trying to get rid of, kiddo?
Sari, what would you do with it?
Well, if movies are anything to go off of, the moment someone hands me the atom bomb, there are like 3 separate groups that are out to kill me and steal it from me already.
Yeah, yeah.
So like the person didn't want it because it actively put them in danger. I would probably go to the most deserted area I could, just like minimize the damage. No, like a desert, like a flat, maybe the ocean. You have to go in the shore run. People go to beaches to relax, not desert area.
Okay, go to the worst beach in the whole world and go.
Yeah, no, but I think I would go for land, not water.
Would you detonate it?
Oh,
no.
I don't think I could be fast enough.
Yeah, I guess the question is like, who's the person? I mean, I know somebody who works at the White House. I could like text Rob.
Yeah, we
trust
should
Rob.
Hank.
Can you tell Joe Biden that I have a nuclear bomb?
I feel like Joe Biden would not be the best person in this scenario. Joe Biden is very low on my list of people I would want to tell.
I mean, he knows who to talk to, though.
Joe, don't be mad, Joe, but I have something.
Well, I think we got that well and truly taken care of. Every week here on Tangents, we get together to try to one-up, amaze, and delight each other with science facts while also trying to stay on topic. Our panelists are playing for glory and for Hank Bucks, which we will be awarding as we play. And at the end of the episode, one of them will be crowned the winner. And because we have a guest this week, we will have 2 games, and I will be playing along with our panelists. Now, as always, we introduce this week's topic with the traditional science poem, this week from Ashley.
Crust is always a must, whether on a pizza or underfoot we can trust. Reliable and strong, protecting a gooey center within, be it on a floating space rock or in a little pie tin. Crust is always around, in our mouths, on our bodies, or just underground. So give it respect it deserves. Let it take up some brain cell reserves.
Crust.
Wow.
Crust is nice because it is both that really delicious part of a pastry and also the stuff we walk around all the time, which makes me think for the first time that the Earth might be just a gigantic goober of a crunch ball.
It's got a gooey center, right?
It's got a gooey middle, and then it's got a hard center. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like 3-layered.
So it's got
a cake pop.
It's got like a little prize in the middle of it.
Yeah, it's got like one of those like hard chocolate balls with like the like nicer like caramel outside it, and then it's got the chocolate on the outside.
Yeah. Maybe some kind of malted material in the middle there.
It's like a treasure. It's like a treasure on the inside because it's made entirely of valuable metal.
True. There you go. It is really the prize
to get to. Sari, what is a crust?
So the when you Google like science crust, then you're gonna get Earth's crust most likely. Yeah. Like a lot of geologists have dominated the market of Google results for crust science, which is the outermost shell of a planet like Earth. We've got continental crust, which is the stuff on land where I would dispose of the atomic bomb. We've got oceanic crust, and that's where Sam would dispose of it, which is anything that's covered by water. They're various thicknesses. But really, when it comes down to crust, much like Ashley's poem, it's really like anything kind of dry and flaky and deposited some like a hard outer layer on something. So pie crust, you've got bread crust, you've got like scabs are kind of like skin crusts.
There's cryptobiotic crusts.
Yeah.
What's that?
It's like a I don't know. It's like
you just said it to sound smart.
Yeah,
it's that stuff.
That's like algae and stuff and lichen on soil,
it's
right?
like living things inside of the soil, and they hold the soil in place. And then if you step on it, you crush the structure that took a long time to exist, and it takes forever to build back up.
No,
it's like a lattice between dirt made out of living things. I just was in places once, and they were like, "Don't step on the cryptobiotic crust."
They've spent a long time trying to grow there. So there's biotic crust, cryptobiotic crust. There's also mineral crusts, like when you let salt water evaporate, or if you sweat a lot, go for a long run, you're sweating, then you get a little crusty. Like so many, I think this is why this topic is a little cursed, because crust is like a little something that was gooey turned hard, and you're not sure if it's good or not. You're not sure what happens when you punch through that crust.
It's always a surprise, good or bad, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I think a crust is anything that hides a little surprise inside.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Fun.
All right. That's not cursed anymore. That's lovely. I want to pop it.
Yeah. I like it.
And do we know anything about the word?
So crust, we actually talked about a similar root word when it came to crystal. So crystal comes from like the root word crus, Kreus, which means like a crust of ice, a thin layer of ice. But that root word turned into the Latin crusta, which means any sort of shell or rind or bark or crust, to refer to like the hard outer part of bread, but is also the same root word for crustaceans, which are just animals that have a little shell or crust. Yeah, the crustiest animals.
Oh my God, the crusty crab. The crusty crab makes so much more sense all of a sudden.
Wait, what's the crusty crab? Is that a SpongeBob thing?
From SpongeBob.
SpongeBob.
Come on.
I'm old.
That's like the oldest thing you've ever said. I know you haven't gotten our Pokemon references, but not knowing the Krusty Krab.
And that's even an old guy thing at this point. So what does that say about you?
Ancient.
That's correct. So lobsters are just like Pop-Tarts.
Yeah, lobsters are like Pop-Tarts. Croutons are like Pop-Tarts.
Well, this sounds like it's going to be as a hot dog a sandwich thing again. I can already feel it.
Well, now I'm like, does an orange have a crust? Like, how crunchy does it have to be?
It has to be pretty dry, I think.
All right. Well, I'll just dry it out first then.
Yeah, I've seen some pretty dry orange peels.
Like a really old orange has a crust, but a freshie, that's not a crust yet.
Those Latin guys, they got almost all the words right, except they added one little extra bit to all of them. Crusta. Just cut off the you know? Seems like they're always doing that kind of stuff.
You know?
They're working harder, not smarter over there.
They just liked a little flair. Like abracadabra. Yeah. You don't have an abracadab. You gotta have that little
you mean
the fancy.
You beat me to it. I was about to dab too.
Hank, do you know what dabbing is?
Yeah, apparently I know what that is. I mean, I know what SpongeBob is. I just don't know all the different bits and bobs of down under pineapple land.
Bikini
bottom.
Bikini bottom. All right, now I think I know roughly what a crust is, which means that it's going to be time to play my game. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a Tangents Crust Truth or Fail. So many things use or create crusts, as we've discussed, but some of those things just got to be too weird to be true. Or are they? Today, your crust truth-seeking skills will be put to the test in a game of Truth or Fail Express. I'm going to be telling you some kind of story about crust, and it's up to you to figure out whether or not that story is true. If you're right, you get a point. Are you ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
Aye,
right.
Captain.
Thing number one. Fin whales.
He doesn't get it. He doesn't know what that's from.
He doesn't get it.
What is it?
It's from SpongeBob again.
Is it SpongeBob thing? Okay.
You just said, "Are you ready, kids?" Like just like the guy at the beginning. You know what?
Just like Patrick the Pirate.
Are you ready,
Just
kids?
like Patty
Okay.
the
Aye,
Pirate.
Captain. That's the theme song.
Fin whales live under the sea, and they're one of the loudest creatures in the ocean. And their calls are so loud that scientists were able to use their vibrations to decipher the composition of a region of the Earth's crust.
Whoa.
Is that true or false?
What? I don't think that could be. They're moving. I don't think it's true. I don't think you could triangulate
They're moving.
where they're coming
They're
from.
moving.
Because
Yeah.
they're moving.
That's Sam's opinion. Ashley?
I'm going to be honest. It just sounds so cool, and I love whales so much that I just hope it's true, because
Yeah.
if whales can just be loud and scream underwater and help scientists out, that's pretty awesome. So I'll say it's true.
You know, that brought me around to it. I would love for anyone's screams to be useful to science, so I'm going to say it's true also.
The calls of fin whales can get to around 189 decibels, which is enough decibels to make them detectable by seismometers that scientists use to find undersea quakes. And recently, scientists realized that those calls could be an opportunity to study the composition of the crust beneath the ocean. So this is a true fact.
Wow.
We could
Thanks,
use the vibrations to study sediments and rock, but we usually rely on tectonic activity. So like you have to wait for something to happen, or you can blast actually air guns at it. But that's going to be bad for sea life, so you don't want to do that. But between 2012 and 2013, 4 seismometers in the Northeast Pacific Ocean were able to record 6 fin whale songs that were between 2.5 and 5 hours in length. And the seismic waves coming back from the songs were strong enough to help scientists study the structure of the rock 8,200 feet below the ocean's bottom. So there we go. It's for
Where
real.
SpongeBob's living.
Hey.
That's like, what? SpongeBob episodes are 15 minutes. That's like
11.
20 SpongeBob episodes.
Equate everything in SpongeBob terms now for the rest of the episode.
Man. Fact number 2. In the 1980s, an outbreak of conjunctivitis at an ostrich farm caused large dark crusts to form on the eyelids and skin of ostrich chicks. Researchers found that the likely culprit was parsley that had gotten mixed into their food and was making the birds more sensitive to light.
What? What the heck?
Oh. Wait. Does parsley make us more sensitive to light?
I don't think so, but we're not ostriches.
I know, like picking too many carrots or limes or something can make you more sensitive to light. I think, right? Like you rub off some kind of chemical on you that can give you sunburns or something.
That's
this
lime.
is real.
Yeah.
Lime, not
Oh.
carrots. Carrots are like, if you eat carrots, then your vision's better just because it has like a certain vitamin in it. I think that's, I don't know, folk wisdom.
Not so much a thing.
Limes are, you can get a burn from it because the acid in the limes reacts with your skin. It's like a
Sun's in there,
margarita
too.
sunburn or
And the
something
sunlight.
like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh.
But birds, I feel like birds could be allergic to all kinds of stuff, you know? So,
That's
and they
true.
shouldn't be eating parsley. Who's putting parsley in their food? I'm going to say this is true.
I'm going to say it's false. I don't know. It seems like a series of arbitrary things.
Isn't it a weird thing to
really
make
does.
up, though? So weird.
It feels almost like too weird. And also, my mom has a farm and she has chickens, and I have seen those chickens eat basically anything. And so the thought of a bird just vibing out on a farm, eating like parsley and then having a really bad time seems a little bit silly to me. I'm going to say it's false as well.
Well, in 1988, researchers published a paper in the journal Avian Pathology that was titled Parsley-Induced Photosensitivity in Ostriches and Ducks. Chickens, fine. Ostriches and ducks, not so much.
So close.
It was based on a case of conjunctivitis that had affected young and adult ostriches at an ostrich farm in Israel, which had made the young ostriches all crusty. And it turned out that dry ground parsley from a nearby vegetable factory had gotten mixed in with the hay that they feed to the ostriches, which, and when that was taken away from their diet, the symptoms cleared up. So, yeah.
Poor
Does
little
seem
guys.
like just a bunch of stuff that was just tacked on, just like a Mad Lib style.
Yeah.
But it's real.
Don't feed your ducks parsley.
But chickens,
That's
just
an
fine.
Chickens, who knows?
Chickens will eat anything.
I don't think that's
actually know if that's
entirely true. Please don't feed your chickens anything. Oh my God. I just know they eat a lot of stuff.
All right, our last fact. In the 19th century, a Polish veterinarian developed a technique to treat horse wounds by applying a leather disc to the wound, folding the skin around it, and then stitching the disc in place. The technique was inspired in part by watching bakers fold the edges of their pie crust.
I was like, where does crust come in? Oh, there it is. Okay.
There it is. Sam does not look happy. Nobody looks happy.
No,
Just me.
it was a weird image. It feels too extensive for surgery. A horse wound, you insert a leather disc and then you crimp the edges and you're like, that's a pie on my
I'll
horse.
remind you, it's the 19th century. You don't need the horse to live for you to keep your job as a veterinarian.
Yeah, you can just be like, here's my new pie treatment. It's all the rage.
I don't think this is true. It just is. It just seems like something easy to make up too. Come on, it's not true.
I don't think it's true either. No, there's no universe in which I think this is true, and someone would let.
I mean, I guess he could have done it, but did it work? Did we hear that part of it? I guess he could have done it.
I don't think it would have worked.
So this is the 19th century. And I mean, even how horses get treated nowadays, I think it wouldn't surprise me if someone was like, yeah, we'll try it. It's like throwing anything at the wall and see what sticks. I think it might be true. And I hate the fact that it could be. And I really hope that it's not.
But you're going for true?
Yeah, going for true.
This one is false.
Oh, thank God.
There is a method for human knee surgery that is called pie crusting, though. And it involves, as the doctor describes, quote, repetitive puncturing with a spinal needle. I don't know what that means. Beyond that, there's obviously a lot of poking going on, or why the technique is called pie crusting. But I guess you do poke holes when you're got the top of the crust so the air can get out, or the hot water.
I hope.
And there was a type of surgery used in Polish veterinary medicine in the 16th, 19th century that involved inserted a leather disc under the skin. So that was, it's the worst of both worlds, actually. Yeah. This is true. It is a thing that did happen, but it didn't have anything to do with pie crust.
Fantastic.
Or horses.
Yeah. All right. That means that we are headed out with Ashley with 1 point and Sari and Sam both with 2. Next, we're going to take a short break. Then we will be back for the return of the Gauntlet. All right, everybody. Now Sam has a game for us, but first a trivia question to decide the order of play.
In a paper titled The Physics of Baking Good Pizza, scientists took on the age-old question of just how to best make a pizza. They had been traveling in Rome, where they learned from pizza makers that to make a margherita pizza, you need to bake it for 2 minutes in a wood-fired brick oven heated at 625 degrees Fahrenheit.
Ooh.
You'll need more time if you have more toppings. Of course, many of us do not have a wood-fired brick oven, which means that we don't have the dry heat, wood smoke, and slow heat release needed to get our crust just perfect. Luckily, the authors of the paper used thermodynamics to figure out how to mimic the brick oven conditions with an electric oven. According to them, the pizza should be in the oven for 170 seconds. But what should the temperature be? Whoever's closest will go in order for my devious game.
So if it's 170 seconds,
It's going to be pretty toasty.
I'm going to say 475 degrees Fahrenheit.
I'm going to say 400. I think lower. I'm worried about it burning.
But it's only in there for mere seconds.
Yeah, it's 170
That's true.
seconds. I was going to say 500.
Okay. The answer is 450 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh, dang it. That was my knee-jerk reaction. Like, I cook my pizzas at 450, but it's definitely for longer than 170 seconds. So I'm like, it can't be.
Yeah, but my pizzas are
Wow.
frozen when I put them in there.
Well, I don't think
True.
I don't think that's the kind of pizza they're talking about.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Okay, that means that Hank will go first, and then in second place, I guess, are you guys tied for how far away you were from the right answer?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So
Oh, wow.
I'll have Sari go second, and then Ashley go last because you went over. Classic Price is Right rules.
Oh, Price is Right rules. Got you. I got you.
Okay, here's my game, and it is called The Gauntlet, the ultimate game of science, knowledge, strategy, and treachery. In The Gauntlet, you and your opponents will face a series of 7 questions of decreasing difficulty. I'll take turns asking you the questions in order from
right.
7 to 1. When asked a question, you may choose to answer or to pass. If you choose to answer, a correct answer gets you the amount of points equal to the question's number, and an incorrect answer loses you those points. So question 7 is worth 7 points, 6 is worth 6 points, and so on. If you answer incorrectly, the next person in order will have an opportunity to steal. If they answer correctly, they get the points, but if they answer incorrectly, they do not lose points. If you pass, your opponent gets asked the next question, which is slightly less difficult. After we've gone through all the questions, the past questions are asked again and cannot be skipped a second time. And a warning, questions and answers to later questions may contain clues to the answers of earlier
Right.
ones.
Mm.
Now, prepare to enter the gauntlet,
my
Eyes and
gosh.
Pies, Eyes and Pies edition.
Oh.
All right. Question 1 for Hank, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
In what is widely considered to be the first written tale of the Sandman, 1816's Der Sandmann, this impish little fellow throws sand into the eyes of children who won't go to sleep, causing the children's eyes to fall out. He would then steal the eyes away to the moon, where he would do what with them? What would the Sandman do with children's eyes?
I couldn't have told you anything. I couldn't have told you any single thing in that story. Like everything was a twist, including the thing I'm supposed to know. Pass, obviously. I'm not going to
Okay.
lose points making a guess about what the Sandman does with children's eyes on the moon.
Well, you'll know before the end of the game.
Yeah.
That was question 7, by the way. I said question 1. Thank you, Faith.
Yeah.
Question 6 is for Sari. The history of pies is a little complicated since there are a whole lot of words we use for food inside a pastry crust, but some historians say that the first known pie recipe comes from a Sumerian tablet dating to before 2000 BCE. What kind of pie is it a recipe for?
I'll guess for the sake of it. A meat pie?
Okay. More specific.
No.
Oh no, that's gotta be fine.
Like a goat meat?
Think of all the... Oh, I'm so sorry. you lose 6 points.
It was meat.
Okay. Ashley, your question. Question 5. Part of the reason eye crusties form, mostly in our sleep, is because the skin cells, oil, and other junk that make up eye crusties are washed away by our blinking and tears throughout the day. Thanks, tear ducts. Another thing that tear ducts help us do is cry. Weirdly enough, humans seem to be the only animals that cry. But in 2022, a paper was published that suggested that there's another animal that produces extra tears when experiencing emotions. What animal is it?
Is it cows?
I'm so sorry. You lose 5 points.
No.
Oh my gosh. We're just...
I think I was supposed to.
Wait, what?
Oh, I was supposed to give you a chance to steal the pie question.
It's true, but I mean, it could be the same answer.
It's true.
It's not cows for either answer, so you lose 4 points. And then now, Hank, do you want to steal what the answer is to the question previous about crying animals?
Is it elephants?
It is not elephants.
Oh, that was my other guess. Now I have nothing.
Hank does not lose points for that, though. I think it's Hank's turn again. So, pie crust, such a pleasant word, invoking warmth and wholesomeness. But pie crusts weren't always called pie crusts. Around the 16th century, they went by this other, more macabre name. What was it?
You want me to just guess the sad name of pie crusts?
Yeah.
Is it something to do with children's eyes and the moon?
No, it's not. It didn't have anything to do with that.
Does it have the word skin in it?
No, it does not have the word skin in it. Think about a pie. Think about a pie. Oh, okay. You pass. Sarah, would you like a chance to steal this?
I don't lose a point, right?
No.
I think I know this. Is it a pie coffin?
It is a pie coffin. That's it.
Let's
Coffin, which actually
All
meant box in ye old English, so not really that creepy back then. The word coffin was used back when pie crusts had the slightly more practical job of keeping savory foods sealed up and safe instead of just being a fun way to eat some hot fruit. Okay, Sarah, now your question again. Back on the topic of eye crusties, they go by many names: sleepies, eye boogers, sleep sand. But what is the actual clinical term for eye gunk?
Isn't it? I don't know how to say it. Rheum, RHEUM.
I also don't know how to say it, but it is rheum.
I also wouldn't have got that.
And it's generally harmless unless you have a whole lot of it. Then you should go to the doctor. But you should clean it off and maybe do your dog a solid and clean their eye bugs off too, because they can't reach them. Ashley, I don't know why I put this question at number 2, but who allegedly was served the first cherry pie ever made?
Oh, what?
That should have been like
this planet who had the first year.
That should have been like maybe number 5 or 6.
Yeah, was it the hot rock band Warrant? No, that was just for me, and that was just for me and Tuna.
Yeah, it wasn't for me. No.
Yeah, you got all your SpongeBob references, but where's your 80s hairband trivia?
Oh, I got it. It took me a second, but I got it. I mean, the reference to the 80s hairband, not the answer to this question.
Oh, no.
Okay. Hank, who do you think had the first cherry pie ever made?
Well, it's got to be George Washington, the first president of the United States of America.
I was going to guess a president.
It wasn't George Washington, no. But also, Hank, here's another question for you. Now, to bring eyes and pies together, the history of pie may have started with the humble and delicious chicken pie, but we've done some weird stuff to pies since then. Stargazy pie is a type of Cornish pie usually served around Christmas time, from out the top of which pop several fish heads, their dead eyes gazing up at the sky. What kind of fish are traditionally used in this pie?
This pie is from England?
It is from England, Cornish, wherever Cornish is. Yeah.
I don't even know if it is. It's from the United Kingdom anyway.
Uh-oh.
I don't know which of the kingdoms Cornwall is in. Cod. Mackerel.
That's a solid guess. And you guessed 2? Yes, 2. Sarah, what do you think? What kind of fish are we talking? That was wrong. Oh, okay. Both are wrong.
Haddock? I feel like that's a very British fish. Haddock?
That is a very British fish. They're always talking about haddock over there.
Yes.
Over on their little trivia game shows that I watch.
Nope, that's not right either. So now we got to go back up to the top. And I'll just tell you the answers this time when you get them wrong. So it is widely considered to be the first written tale of the Sandman, 1816's Der Sandmann.
What does he do with their eyeballs?
And this is a question for Sari, I believe.
He takes them to the moon, and he buries them for later. A little secret.
That would be a nice compared to what he actually does, which is feed them to his children. So
his children live on the moon.
Yeah, in a nest.
I mean, everybody's got to live somewhere.
So yeah, the abstract idea that you wake up with sand in your eyes because a guy comes around and sprinkles sand in your eyes while you sleep predates any narrative stories about the Sandman. But in the first recognized written story, he was a nasty little guy. And in 1841, Hans Christian Andersen wrote another story about the Sandman where he's a nice little guy who just helps you dream and doesn't steal and eat your eyeballs. Yeah. Okay, the history of pies. And this next one is for Ashley. The history of pie is a little complicated. There are a lot of words for pie. What was the first pie? What kind of pie was it?
Chicken.
It was chicken. You heard my clue. Did you hear my clue?
I was like, I hope that comes back to me, baby. Because that was going to be, I said cow already for the other one, but I'm like, it's probably chicken pie because those are pretty classic.
God bless a chicken.
Yes, thank you, chickens. Hank, question 5. What is the other animal that cries?
I'm going to get this wrong again.
You've done a SciShow about this, I think. Recently.
that makes it worse. I did feel like I had heard about it, but
yeah.
Is it human children? They're not the same species as us, right?
Hank, come on. It's dogs.
Yeah.
It's dogs.
Oh no, it's dogs.
Yeah, the study measured the wetness of dogs'
worst.
eyes right after being reunited with their owners after several months apart and found a dramatic increase in tear production. And humans were also found to have more positive and nurturing emotions towards dogs with watery eyes. Isn't that sweet?
It is.
So they do that.
Well, no, maybe they just evolved to look like they're crying so that we'll be nice to them.
Yeah, that's probably really what it is. But, Sari was the first person to ever eat cherry pie.
Okay. Yeah, you should have swapped this one with the animal criers.
Probably.
My guess is Mark Antony and Cleopatra. They seem wealthy. Yeah. They're, I don't know.
That would be beautiful, but it was Queen Elizabeth I sometime in the 16th century, which also seems to mark the transition from the more solemn and utilitarian coffin type of savory pie to experimentation with more fun and fruity dessert pies. But also, I gotta think somebody ate a cherry pie before the 16th century.
Yeah.
Because cherries are just crying out to be made into pies, in my opinion.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
And finally, Ashley, what kind of fish are in this pie with that their heads are sticking out of it? We've heard haddock, we've heard cod, we've heard whatever Sari said.
Mackerel.
Mackerel.
I said cod and mackerel.
It's true. I'm gonna say halibut.
No, it is sardines. There's little sardines sticking their little heads out on top of this pie.
Those aren't very dramatic heads.
No, and I feel like there's a lot of bones in sardines, isn't there? I feel like that would be.
I'm not really sure if you're supposed to eat them or not.
Yeah, you're supposed to eat them.
You are supposed to eat the heads?
I assume so. That's why they put them on there. They're salty. You guys have never eaten a sardine?
No, I used to love sardines when I was a kid, but then somewhere along the way, I lost my taste for them.
No, I never liked them. It just seems like it's a thing you have to do sometimes.
It was never a thing that I was forced to do in my lifetime. I stayed away from them.
You know, it's hip right now? Tinned fish, though. So it's cool to eat tinned fish.
Why?
I don't know. Because it's cool. Why is anything cool?
I like a canned tuna. Like, that's all.
You're hip.
But that's bone off.
Sari's hip.
Bone off. Boneless tuna. Love it.
Yeah, no bone.
Right.
Like a boneless chicken wing, which is just a nugget.
Oh, this is an argument. Boneless chicken wings are just nuggets.
Speaking of having things removed from you, the scores are Sari with -8.
Oh,
me with -6, and Ashley with a big honkin' nothing, which is a huge win.
Yes, which means you
winning for nothing. Let's go. Never been so proud to have achieved nothing in my life.
Does that get added to the existing scores?
You know, I think we're going to go by vibes to figure out who won, I guess. Yeah, it gets added to the existing scores. It does.
Yeah.
So you guys have...
which I think that means that you win, Sam, because you didn't have to go through this gauntlet.
Yeah. So you got 2 points.
Ashley came out with 1 point, came out of that gauntlet with a solid point still, but Sam was ahead. And now it's time to ask the Science Couch, where we've got a listener question for our virtual couch of finely honed scientific minds.
At Yellow Lime on Twitter asks, how does the crust know where to stop? How is burnt bread not all crust? Interesting.
This is a great question. I hadn't ever thought about it, but I would assume it's a temperature thing. That the outside just gets hotter for not very far.
It seems cursed to slice into a thing of bread and it's all crust. That would be...
Well, it might also be a moisture thing. So like the crust forms and holds the moisture inside. And but that outside doesn't have any moisture, so it's able to get hotter.
It sacrifices itself so the inside can remain delicious bread.
But Sarah probably knows the actual answer.
I do, but you already got there, so I don't have much to add. It is heat and moisture. So you take a doughy loaf of bread, and the crust forms as moisture evaporates from the surface. And so the uppermost layers of dough dry out and become rigid. Gluten coagulates, and like all the molecules, the bread molecules, as they desiccate, as they become drier, kind of like form this rigid, crusty structure. And then as the temperature continues to increase, then you start having some reactions between the sugars and amino acids, causing the Maillard reactions, which are what cause the browning. So it doesn't just dry out, it becomes this like crispy golden brown. And if you keep heating it, then you get pyrolysis, which is burning, where the char forms on the outside. So things burn away, and you're left with this like carbon residue of blackness on the crust. And it is just thermodynamics, like more than anything. It's the amount of moisture, the amount of heat. And you can delay the crust from forming or form a thinner crust by adding humidity into the oven as you bake your bread, because then it keeps everything moister. It makes it take longer for that outermost layer of dough to dry out and form that crust. And then it traps all the nice moisture inside. And that is also why you need to rest your bread a little bit before you cut into it usually. Not only because it's really hot, but because there's all this steam trapped inside from the hot moisture of the bread. And you need that to evaporate the water molecules to resettle the structure of the bread to be good. Otherwise, you'll cut into your hot bread and it'll be real mushy on the inside. But you don't want that. You want a nice crumb. You want a nice, like, warm, fluffy, porous, but not damp inside your bread.
Oh, damp crust. Love it.
You guys believe bread? Like, bread.
Yeah.
Sorry to all the non-bread people out there. Gosh.
We figured it out so early, too. We were like, cavemen were like,
yeah, we did bread, and it was like, all right, that species is going to be trouble.
No need to.
Yeah. They're going places. No stopping them now. They can make bread.
The bread trains are rolling, and it won't stop.
Yeah, man. Sometimes we need to slow the bread train down. Maybe we can all just take a little bit of a breath. Find ways to be satisfied without just everything changing so much every 6 months. Sorry, I'm exhausted.
What? Was that about bread at the end?
got personal.
There's a point in that monologue where it stopped being about bread, and I was thinking about Olive Garden breadsticks this entire time.
Yeah. I was thinking about a good baguette.
Yeah, I was like, how many Olive Garden breadsticks could I eat in one sitting realistically? I think like 7.
I'm thinking about like GPT-7. I'm like, we are so screwed.
Yeah, ask that to invent some bread for you. See what that does.
Oh my God.
Well, thanks for your question. If you want to ask the Science Couch your question, you can follow us on Twitter at SciShow Tangents, where we will tweet out topics for upcoming episodes every week, or you can join the SciShow Tangents Patreon and ask us on our Discord. Thank you to @BearStravaganza and @ArielWinona on Twitter, and everybody else who asked us your questions for this episode. Ashley, thank you so much for joining us. It's always a delight to have you on the show.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me again for another time for me to harass you guys.
Where can we see more of what you do?
Well, I'm Ashley Roboto everywhere on the internet, but I mostly stream 4 days a week over on my Twitch channel. So if you like my shenanigans and want to hang out, that's where you can find me for the most part. And I'd love to have you.
You're one of the scariest people I follow on Twitter because sometimes I'll see a picture of you and your hands will be feet and your feet will be hands. And I will go, what the hell? What's that all about?
Oh, yeah. You like my heat? Hank, have you ever seen a heat photo of mine?
I just Googled this.
I'm both sorry, but also you're welcome, because it's one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah, you're really changing the game.
Oh, thanks. Look, it started out with, I just didn't want to, no feet for free on the internet, right? And then it was like, oh, people hate this. I love it. Yeah. And so it's like the schadenfreude or whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, you wanted to see my feet?
Yeah.
Well, here instead.
Unfortunately, you do have a wiki feet, and none of them are heat.
I do.
Pictures.
Yeah, I need to make a wiki feet account right now so that I can get those heat up there.
Yeah, take down the feet, put up the heat.
Post my heat pics.
You'll get banned from WikiFeet, Hank. Is that what you want?
What do they want? How are they going to prove that's not my real feet if we take away the old ones?
Yeah,
what are you going to say? That's
photo
not my
evidence.
feet?
But you do have near almost perfect ratings, 5-star beautiful feet on WikiFeet.
Oh, thank you. I was just looking at this the other day. I'm like, look, do I have a WikiFeet? Yes, but are my feet perfect almost? Also,
yes.
Also, hard to be mad in that situation.
Yeah. God, if you would give me like 2 stars, then I'd be like, we'd have to fight. But like, God, I guess if you're gonna give me rating, then I'll take it.
Yeah. Gotta do the good ones. If you like this show and you want to help us out, it's real easy to do that. First, you can go to patreon.com/SciShow Tangents, become a patron, and get access to things like our newsletter and our bonus episodes, and a special thanks to our patron, Les Aker. Don't forget, also, once we hit 700 patrons, we will do a Minions movie commentary, so go subscribe! It's at patreon.com/SciShow Tangents, and if you're already a patron, spread the word. We have to see the bits. Keep forgetting that line's in the show flow. Second, if you can leave us a review wherever you listen. That's very helpful. It helps us know what you like about the show. And finally, if you want to show your love for SciShow Tangents, you can just tell people about
us.
Thank you for joining us. I've been Hank Green.
Are we switching the order? Sam, you're first in the show.
I'm first? Oh my God. People aren't going to like this, but I've been Sam Schultz.
I've been Sari Riley.
And I've been Ashley Roboto.
SciShow Tangents is created by all of us and produced by Sam Schultz. Our associate producer is Faith Schmidt. Our editor is Seth Glicksman. Our story editor is Alex Billow. Our social media organizer is Julia Buzz Bazzaio. Our editorial assistant is Deboki Chakravarti. Our sound design is by Joseph Tuna Medish. Our executive producers are Nicole Sweeney and me, Hank Green. And we couldn't make any of this without our patrons on Patreon. Thank you. And remember, the mind is not a vessel to be filled, but a fire to be lighted.
But one more thing. Bat guano contains nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Historically, this crusty poop has been mined by humans to use as fertilizer, craft into gunpowder, or just to study what bats eat. One bat and bird guano deposit in Chile at the Pabellon de Pica Mountain, I looked up how to pronounce that earlier, is especially cool because as this poop decomposes, it reacts with rocks in the cave. These poopy chemical reactions have created at least 9 never-before-seen organic mineral crusts, including bright blue bohorite and spiky purple chanabayite. These minerals won Mineral of the Year in 2020 and 2015, respectively.
Wow. Mineral of the Year. You can win Mineral of the Year.
Yeah.
I mean, run out.
You can't. We can't.
No. Unfortunately. Hey, maybe if you want to go to Chile and study bat guano, you can also win Mineral of the Year, Hank.
Well, no, I can't. The mineral wins Mineral of the Year.
You could lay down in the cave and grow something weird new on you, and then people will say,
that is the thing I need to do. I need to get encrusted with some mineral that's never existed before and it's bright purple.
You need to get so crusty we can't separate the Hank from the crust, and then you'll win.
Yeah, it's great, and not at all a sci-fi horror movie waiting to happen.
I think it's more achievable for me personally than like an EGOT to become Mineral of the Year.